Hello ladies and gentlemen, Big Daddy Top Hat here. If you have been following my channel for a while, you will be aware that I am on a sub-quest to make videos covering every single entry in the revolutionary Double Dragon series. Today I felt that it was about time that we tackled perhaps the most mysterious entry of them all. This particular Double Dragon game is so rare that sadly 99.999% of the gaming community have absolutely no way to play this. But what makes this matter even worse is that multiple fans have claimed that this is simply the greatest Double Dragon game that has ever been made. So today we are going to take a deep dive look at this title, look at exactly what we are missing out on and why unfortunately we cannot play this gem. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the sad story of Double Dragon Zeebo, the lost game. Yeah. But first, a word from our sponsor. Today's video is sponsored by NordVPN, who are valuable to all of us in today's terrifying dystopian 2021 future of wading through traffic on the information superhighway. Like on any perilous journey, we have to be careful not to have an accident and try our best to make sure we are all safe from danger. NordVPN keeps our data safe behind a wall of next generation encryption, protecting our online privacy even when travelling or using public Wi-Fi in cafes or restaurants. NordVPN makes it close to impossible for naughty hacker scumbags with a service that provides access to over 5,500 super fast servers across 60 countries, even working in China. If I want to watch Netflix shows not broadcast in my region, or get better prices on flights purchased virtually through a different country, NordVPN has me covered. It is the only VPN to get all the green checks on PCMag and is recommended by top technology experts such as Yahoo, Forbes, TechRadar and many more. The service is compatible with most operating systems including Windows, Mac OS, Linux, iOS and Android. It features a cybersecurity suite which acts as an ad blocker, allows up to 6 simultaneous connections and even includes double data encryption for increased anonymity with no data logging. Buyers are protected with a 30-day money-back guarantee and even given 24/7 customer support via live chats and emails. For NordVPN's birthday, every purchase of a 2-year plan will get you 1 additional month free and a surprise gift. Go to nordvpn.com/tophatgaming and use the code tophatgaming to take advantage of this limited offer. Privacy and security, yeah. The Double Dragon franchise has one of the richest in gaming, with more highs and lows taking place than with any roller coaster ride. Way back in 1987, the games were off to a flying start, with Yoshi Kishimoto's first 2 games. The 2 titles pretty much established the cooperative beat-em-up genre, with the titles pioneering the way forward for the entire genre as a whole. In terms of brand recognition and impact, the franchise would never hit this true high ever again, with IP holders Technos Japan committing all sorts of blunders along the way. However, this does not mean that the franchise would not receive cool moments, such as many people adoring the gameplay found in Super Double Dragon on release. A particularly memorable high for the franchise came with Double Dragon Advance in 2003, a game led by Super Double Dragon creator Maneki Ebenuma, who would take the franchise back to its roots with a reimagining of the original game for the Game Boy Advance. The title, funded by new IP holders Million, features improved graphics, new stages mixed with old, but most importantly refined combat with many fighting elements plucked straight from Super Double Dragon. A game some say was combat-wise the most technically impressive beat-em-up in its day. Combining all of these elements, it is no surprise that many gamers cite Double Dragon Advance to be the greatest in the whole series. However, those who have played it sometimes claim that another Double Dragon game should hold this prestigious accolade. 6 years later, in 2009, a brand new Double Dragon game would arrive on a home console. The game, that was simply titled Double Dragon, was made available for the Zeebo, a now obscure console that I have procured for my personal collection that saw release exclusively in Brazil and Mexico. The Zeebo was a 3G enabled entertainment and education system from Zeebo Incorporated. It enabled users to play video games, connect to the internet, communicate online and run educational applications. The Zeebo was targeted at developing markets and, according to Zeebo Incorporated, would bring the fun and excitement of interactive entertainment and education to those who, until now, have had little or no access to such technology. The system was mainly distributed by Tectoy in Brazil, the same Tectoy who had huge success distributing Sega consoles in the region. Production of the system was sadly ceased just 2 years into the lifespan, with online services ending by September of 2011. This means that due to the system being digital only, there is no way to officially add new Zeebo games to your collection today. meaning that most of the game's library is restricted to just those who own the device in its prime who happen to have downloaded the games that they wanted. Like all Zeebo's, my unit, which I purchased aftermarket, came preloaded with several games, and fortunately for me, a copy of Tekken 2, a Zeebo game that could previously only be purchased in the Zeebo store. But sadly, like many others, I currently do not have that sought after exclusive Double Dragon game. Speaking of this game, what about the title is it that is so special that people talk about the game despite the Zeebo's relative obscurity? Well, let's try and explore this further. The 2009 beat-em-up would not be developed or published by Million Company Limited, but instead Tectoy would buy the rights to publish a Double Dragon game themselves, in which they would outsource the development to Brizo Interactive Corporation, a company who would develop an iOS game too. However, that's a story for another time. Like Double Dragon Advance before it, the Zeebo game would be yet another remake of a 1987 arcade game, in that it would take the original stages and ideas and build on them once again. The game retains the familiar story of martial arts brothers Billy and Jimmy pursuing Willie and the Black Warriors gang who have captured a girl named Marion. Through the game they brawl through a range of stages on a quest to achieve their goal. However, while the story is the same, gameplay, graphics and level design have been vastly changed. The digital download only game obviously retains the basic premise and gameplay of what cooperative beat-em-up Double Dragon games are known for. However, there are huge differences between this game and the original that pretty much makes Double Dragon Zeebo its entirely own thing, and a true system exclusive to boot. Straight away, aesthetically, you will notice that all sprites and character animations have been completely redrawn for the game, as has every stage. Amusingly, in the game's early action, you will probably even notice Zeebo for soundboards in the stage backgrounds. Ridiculous product placement if you ask me, because one assumes whoever happens to be playing this game would bloody know what a Zeebo is anyway. Through this early play, gamers are also bound to notice that the music has also all been redone for the game too, further differentiating this Zeebo title. Speaking of differences, in the game's traditional opening scene, where Marion gets punched in the gut, the crime is actually committed by Burnoff this time around, a character who previously featured in Double Dragon 2 The Revenge, rather than the original arcade game that the Zeebo title takes most influence from. After facing off against a Bobo at the end of the opening stage, players head towards a factory-themed setting just like in the 1987 game. Here I guess it's worth talking more about the combat, which as you can see is far more complex than what is present with the franchise's rudimentary beginnings. Players can now perform elaborate combos and can even juggle knock enemies in midair like a fighting game in order to inflict additional damage. Combining the game's dash feature with other buttons allows players to perform further new attack combinations. The factory stage ends eventually with a boss fight against Burnoff, the same Mad Max looking thug we touched on earlier. It is of note that the arcade version of Double Dragon can be beaten around 20 minutes, whereas the expanded Zeebo version takes 40 minutes for experienced players. In terms of the game's extended length, Stage 3 is brand new to the Zeebo version, presenting a damaged road flyover stage with a beautiful sunset taking place in the background. Speaking of Double Dragon and the Zeebo in general, I was approached by a gentleman who goes by the username of Rockmankb, who offered me a contact in Brazil who could hack my Zeebo for me so that I could experience this gem for myself. But until this bloody pandemic is over, I am not comfortable sending my rare device through the treacherous postal service. But it is certainly something I am interested in the future. Rockmankb himself actually submitted a Double Dragon Zeebo review to the Double Dragon Dojo. So from here going forward I am going to use his article as a point of reference in regards to this game's controls, as obviously this is an element I could not possibly analyse without playing the game myself. Rockmankb states that
the moves and controls are very similar to Double Dragon Advance, but now instead of having to press two buttons together to do crouch, headbutt, or cyclone kick, you can simply push one button. Of course, what makes any control scheme great is variety, and you can still crouch, etc. by pressing two buttons together. All the moves return from Double Dragon Advance except for the block counter and mounted punches. It's never good to lose moves, but in this case I feel like the developer got rid of them because they would slow down the action in this game, and they wanted to play it very fast and furious, though this is just my observation. The juggling aspect of this game really drives it forward. While juggling was a component in Double Dragon Advance, this game takes this aspect even further, as some of the moves that couldn't touch you in midair in DDA now can, thus allowing you to create amazing juggling combos. For example, you can punch an enemy twice to stun him, walk up to him to grab him, give him 2 knees to the face, then do the pop-up kick, up and kick, and follow it with 2 headbutts, a dragon hook, punch while dashing, another headbutt, and finally a hyper knee. But that's not to say that fundamentals don't count for anything anymore, since you still need to have a good command over moves like the back elbow and hyper uppercut to progress through the game with any sort of success, especially on hard mode.
Stage 4 is also an exclusive stage that is introduced within the Zeebo version of this game. While the stage itself, I must admit, is generally uninspiring, just being a building corridor after all, the boss design of the stage is rather unique in that you face off against a young lady with a pointy sword. In fact, she reminds me a lot of Mr. X's daughter from Streets of Rage 4 that was released years later. Stage 5 in this game also appears to be brand new, as players brawl through the interior of an Eastern themed building full of a range of ninjas who also never appeared in the arcade game. The stage culminates against a masked boss who wields a very large club. The final stage takes place in Willy's lair, showing gamers that chunks of the original game was cut out in favour of new stages, proving further that this Zeebo game is its own unique thing really. Like in the final stage of old, there are a number of traps and obstacles here that can hurt the player, but much of the rest of the game plays out very similarly to the arcade game, so nothing else to drastically report on. But the game does offer an absolutely amazing completion bonus that in my opinion is by far the coolest in the whole series. Beating Double Dragon on the Zeebo unlocks Extra Mode, a play mode where it is possible to play as any of the sprites in the game. According to Hardcore Gaming 101, at first only Roper and Williams are playable, but after repeat plays, all enemies are eventually playable, each with their own respective movesets. Rockman adds that this innovative mode alone makes this version of the game worth tracking down, and summarises that he thinks that Brizzo did a great job with the game, and it shows that they were also Double Dragon fans who put a lot of effort into the game. The extra mode is an amazing feature that no other Double Dragon game has ever had, and it adds some replay value to the game. To put it simply, Double Dragon Zeebo just plain rocks. While by many players' accounts Double Dragon for the Zeebo is awesome, it is beyond sad that this title is lost to many of us thus far, as Zeebo emulation on a PC simply does not exist at this point. And with the Zeebo store closed, we cannot even officially purchase the game either. At present, the game can only be played by those who are lucky enough to own both a rare Zeebo and have a copy of this great game on it. In many ways, the story of Double Dragon Zeebo is a cautionary tale, and a poster boy for why digital-only distribution of content is terrible for both gamers and game preservationists. This is an example of a game that, thanks to the limits of digital-only gaming, that very few people can play today, and it is quite frightening to see damage slowly beginning to unfold that has been caused by digital distribution. As the years go by and less games are released physically, more and more games will end up like this one. The future of gaming is terrifying in many ways. The lack of physical releases will continue to make playing games less and less convenient, as the selling of the products just becomes more and more beneficial to just the publishers. Digital only releases is rather dangerous for preservation, and on the whole pretty anti-consumer, as we have nowhere near the autonomy over a digital game after purchase of what we have over a physical purchase, and there is certainly no chance of legally acquiring a digital only game after market either. I can guarantee you that this era in gaming is going to be very similar to the early days of cinema, where various digital games will be lost over time due to a lack of desire from the IP holders to allow gamers to continue to play them after a certain date. Super Mario 35 is soon to become another victim of this situation when Nintendo removed the game from their service as of March 31st. So in a lot of ways, the future for consumers continues to still be very dark in that regard. For this reason, I am going to continue to purchase physical copies of games wherever possible, as you never really know when a game is going to be gone from the internet. The only real positive we can draw from this is at least passionate fans continue to combat these issues, by coming up with new ways to emulate games and jailbreak consoles. So we can all hope and pray that maybe there will be a day down the line when Double Dragon Zeebo is finally playable for all. All in all, I dream of a day this is possible. Yeah! So ladies and gentlemen, that was the sad story of Double Dragon Zeebo, the lost Double Dragon game. Let me know in the comment section of great games you know of that are ridiculously difficult to play due to no longer being digitally distributed. I would be eager to learn more about these many lost gems. Before I conclude this video, I just wanted to quickly add that I uploaded a deep dive video on the history of the Zeebo console itself. So if you want to learn more about that, make sure you click the link in the annotations at the end of this video. My Double Dragon series is in part possible due to the amazing people who support my work on Patreon. So before I sign out, I would like to give a huge thanks to both NordVPN for sponsoring today's content and everyone who supports my work week in and week out. Special thank yous go out to Sebastian Villas, A Murder of Crows, Carl Johnson, Heo Paulo Lopez, Ben Harradine, Koriyama Sr., Capcom vs SNK, BXL Gotham, Ron Dinch, Evan Border, Philip Nant, Azra Arkai, Keith Ferguson, Joaquin Varela, Michael Calix, Ego, Jordan Durant, Adriel Light 85, Nick Daniels, Princess Zana, Glennie Glenn, Daniel Daly, Computer Man, House of a Ted, Craig Jenkins, ECU Professor, Kid Anime, Justin Wang, Aaron McNamara, Hermes Gonzalez, Instant Gratification Monkey, Man Shovel, James Bishop, JB, Michael Hall, Wesley Sang Hee, Wayne Kerr, Langston Miller, Noob, Brian Barry, Sarah Powell, Blaming Renee, Marvin O'Liga, Chris Call, TOG Driver, Adrian Hannington, Bernard NG, Richard Stu Stewart, James McDonald, Dan Van Damme, Lewis Viant, John Bates, David Bowell, Chris Fisk, Michael Bruno, Rick67, Antonio Rodriguez, Retroverse.com, Casey Wright, Synth Spaces, Zai, Andrew Bazanski, Gunther Hendricks, and everybody else who backs me on this platform. Thank you. Yeah, cheerio.